specifically that type of aeroplane. Now, you can bundle it all together, but that can get very expensive very quickly. So you could do a high-powered airplane, which they tend to land faster than the stuff you've been learning on up to that point. And then you can do a multi-engined airplane, and they usually suggest to do the high-powered single because it's cheaper to rep one of those than it is a multi-engined airplane. But before you get onto that, because the multi-engined and high-powered airplanes tend to be complex, the suggestion is learn to fly a low-power complex airplane. So it's steps. It's almost like, well, you can learn to drive a small car, but if you want to move up to a family car, then you have to take another test. And if you want to drive a sports car, you have to take another test. It's like that in aeroplanes, or with aeroplanes. So if as you start expanding, the problem is most high-powered and multi-engine aeroplanes tend to be low wing. So what they tend to suggest is once you've passed your test in a Cessna, they suggest go and find someone with something like a Piper or something similar and learn how that handles, not as a, hey, I need to take a test in it, but just all the differences between the Cessna and the high wing and the low wing. And then once you're comfortable with that, then learn on a complex plane. Then transition to a complex plane, or then transition to a multi-engine, and do everything as cheap as possible. We live. Actually, the airfield is just across the other side of the train tracks. We can hear the trains going through, but it's not. And people running circuits fly over the house, but it's not close enough that we can watch the planes land. I don't really want to be close enough that I can watch the planes land. Nobody flying today because of cloud cover is quite significant. And I don't know, it might be a couple of 1,000 feet up. So you could fly in this weather if you wanted to. I have done. It was back when I was doing the weekly, or 5 lessons in a week type of thing. And I went one morning, first learner of the day, and I went and checked out the plane. The instructor came out and was like, I'm not sure about that cloud base, but we'll go anyway because there's nobody else around type of thing. And we did the flight, and we're bouncing across the bottom of the clouds, but because he's fully rated and an instructor, that's not a problem. And all I was doing was shooting circuits, so but we got back to the office, and he sort of said, we're cancelling all the lessons today unless the cloud cover clears because it's too low. So that was a thing. What am I doing? We're full. I've cleared in front of that gate, so we could go in that way now. I haven't actually paid attention to the weather report, so it may actually be expecting to rain today, which means I won't have yellow grass tomorrow. That's what makes me feel I wouldn't be a good farmer, because our grass gets yellow, it dies, it gets patchy. Oh, hey Binpin, how you doing? I am doing fine. If you've been lurking, then you know all that's going on. Yeah, I did. What's it? I've worked with a number of former student pilots, some of which have managed to get their pilot's endorsement. I never did, because it got cancelled, or flights got cancelled. But one of them was saying there was one time he's bringing his plane into land at one airfield, and it's late in the day. It's almost to the point where the airfield's closing, and he liked flying at that sort of time because it's almost the time that the airfield's closing, so nobody else is around. And he said he's coming into land, and dog runs out on the runway. And he's like, oh crap. So he aborts the landing, takes off, and sort of calls the control tower. There was a dog on the runway. I've had to abort. I'm going to go round. And the air traffic control says, oh, there's almost negligible wind. Let's you can land from the other end if you like. So he's like, okay, performing a 180 coming into land. So he pulls the 180 and he's doing his approach from the other end of the runway. And as he's coming in, there's a call from a small jet coming in from the other direction. And radios for clearance. Yeah, you're clear to land. And I don't know if the air traffic was remembering that they had a light aircraft coming in from the back end of the field. But my friend sort of said, oh, do you want me to go round? And the guy said, no, you've got ample time. And then he's sort of, still in the approach, and he's sort of 30, 40 seconds later, it's sort of, any chance you can speed this up a bit? He said, yeah, okay. He said he put the plane down on the runway, managed to slow it down by the first exit, and was coming off the runway at the first taxiway, and he could see the lights of the jet coming in from the other end of the runway. Wasn't on the runway at the time, because you're not allowed to do that, but he said it was a tad worrying going through that. Sort of. I suppose I should lower the pickup and turn this thing up. I forgot to lower it. Okay, third try. Let's go. Oh, I didn't forget to lower it. I neglected to lower it. I'm actually going to the second row, because that first one is hooked the wrong way. There we go. Okay. That's better. Again, with the routers. So how are you doing, Binpin? I must admit, I think I've seen you a couple of times playing World of Warships, but I've kind of been blitzing solo player recently to get the objectives out of the way. Outside of this stream, I've really not been keeping up with much interactive stuff. Now I can't see what I'm doing because there's a tree in the way. Ah. Wow, World of Warcraft or World of Warships? I kind of got to the end of all the objectives, and I'm not playing World of Warships quite so frequently. It's kind of a... the problem with World of Warships is if you want to participate in the events, you have to devote a lot of time in a week to them. But once you're done, you can skip days at a time. And part of the problem, it's a free-to-play game, but they're trying to encourage you to play as much as possible. But then a lot of the events now, they're making you to pay gold to complete them, and that's... I understand why they're doing it, but it's not something I can directly support personally. I give them money when I feel like it, and at the moment that involves an annual subscription and maybe the odd premium ship. And so this is getting kind of full. Oh. But I'm not doing as much casual play on World of Warships. It's okay, I wonder if I'll get this stuck again. Let's pull off the top before we do. There we go. I'm going to jump out and check the fill level again. We're up to 330. One more load and then we'll... Oh, I have that... Let's turn the right way. I have that somewhat in mind when I'm doing a lot of the objectives. I've been playing the Neptune a lot recently, and I have actually spent the experience to unlock the Minotaur, but I don't have nearly enough credits to buy one, and I don't want to sell the Neptune, so my limit at the moment is the amount of credits I have available. At one point I was up to about 40 million, and then I bought a couple of high-tier boats, and that all went away. So, and since I have so many port slots and I keep getting more, it's sort of, I don't need to sell the boats anymore. It used to be much like World of Tanks. I would run out of garage slots, and then in order to unlock, in order to get the next tank in the tiers, I would have to sell the one I have in order to buy the next one. But that gives you at least a little bit of seed money to buy the new tank. Same thing in World of Warships. You can, if you are struggling for port slots, then you kind of need to sell the boat you currently have in order to buy the new one, or you have to spend gold to buy a port slot. And I'm not really that enthusiastic about spending gold on port slots. So back when I started, I did used to sell the ships and buy new ones, or buy the next one. But now I'm into the point where, well, frankly, I kind of like some of these ships, and I may carry on playing them. So since I don't want to sell them, I need to find the money to buy the next tier ship, and it gets more and more expensive as you go up the tiers, and you get to the point where, well, I've unlocked this ship, I can't buy it yet. So that's kind of where I am at the moment. I've unlocked quite a lot of ships recently. I've got the tier 9 German destroyer. I'm working the tier 8 French cruiser, the tier 9 French battleship. You know, but they're all expensive ships to get into the next one. But I have figured that if you really concentrate on a ship, you can unlock the next one very, very quickly. Yes, that is also true. And I think that's where a lot of my my cash went, is putting the upgrades on the Neptune, putting the upgrades on the tier 8 German destroyer, putting upgrades on so many other ships. It's sort of at the point, I'm at the point now where I can't even afford to upgrade any of my ships, but I've got the experience and I'm unlocking them. I'm going to have to get the Missouri out and play some serious games in that. Because a bad game, I can make 500,000 credits. So, what is it? 30 games I can afford a tier 10 ship. Just playing the Missouri a few times. Or 30 times. But that's where I'm going with it. It's sort of, okay, which ship am I going to play today in order to unlock the next thing? Which is fine. Unless you die in the first 2 minutes of the game, in which case it's sort of, okay, which other ship do I want to work on? Because that one's not available for the next 10 minutes, at least. Let's go that way, push forward, there we go. Now that's kind of why I've been revisiting Battletech over the last 2 weeks. Just because it's something different and you don't have to pay much for upgrades. But there's no one streaming I watch. I used to, if I was... Back before I started streaming, I would usually watch an Arthur video or an Arthur stream and play Farm Sim while I was doing it, because I can pay attention to what I'm watching while I'm farming. What you can't do is play World of Warships and have videos running, because your brain is consumed with what you're doing in World of Warships, not what's on the video you're watching. And the same with streaming, and there's just nobody streaming these days. And on the weekdays. So I can play games other than Farm Sim. But, I think Mrs. Osa and I are getting into a more reasonable routine. Been all up in the air lately with what with all the lockdowns and everything else and stuff like that, but I think we're getting to the point now where supper's at this time of day and we do that, but it allows me to more easily schedule my evenings. So I could say, okay, I could stream during this time after lunch, or after supper, but so long as supper is at the same time every day or every week on that day. I haven't. Oh, let me just finish that load. Maybe I just need to look around because, as I said, there's just... And it's possible that a lot of people are just getting burnt out on it because the lockdown has given a lot of people a lot of free time, and it's just, yeah. You know, I have a job, I have a hobby, and all of a sudden, well, I can't work my job at the moment, so my hobby's now taking the place of my job. And the thing with streaming is, I think the difference with streaming and YouTube, you can play a game for a week and create content that you can release on YouTube for the next half month or more. Whereas with streaming, you have to be consistent. You have to say, this is what I'm doing every single week at the same time every week. And so for this, I try to be here around about 9 o'clock. Sometimes I'm 15 minutes early, sometimes I'm 15 minutes late, sometimes OBS resets the settings and you don't get any sound for the first 20 minutes until someone comes onto the stream and says, hey, why aren't you talking? Well, I've been talking for the last 20 minutes, but nobody's been able to hear me. But to do a stream during the week, I need to be able to say, yeah, I am going to do this at this time of day every week, and it's going to be an hour long or whatever. Now, to finish Ungertsheim, and I still want to visit finish Ungertsheim. That's always at least a 2-hour stream. We used to do that Monday from 8 till 10. I think, yeah, and also I've been getting tired as of late, so we can be looking at the situation where, you know what, I'm not streaming from 8 till 10 because I can't make it till 10. By 9:30 I want to be relaxing, and that's primarily the reason lately that I haven't been looking into evening streams quite so enthusiastically. Saturday morning, great. In fact, any morning where I'm not working and everybody else is not working is a great time to have a stream. I feel I need to be awake to be able to do a stream, and then I just haven't been lately. One of the things I was doing yesterday, I went to see a doctor yesterday. Endocrinology, and he's looked at a lot of the meds I'm on and said, yeah, you probably don't need to be on all of these, and we're going to start playing with my meds over the next 3 months. So that may change things, because meds can make you sleepy or whatever. Okay. I think I'm going to finish this corner off, and we'll call that the last load to the bunker. Yeah, I'm on about, I don't know, lots. I'm on about a lot. So that can be an issue. But we get, at this time, because, this guy's a specialist, I'm usually seeing my general family doctor. And so normally when it's sort of, okay, the drugs you're taking aren't working as well as we'd expect, so we'll add another one. And that's been going on for many years, and so I'm just ending up adding more and more drugs or higher and higher doses. And what this guy's, the specialist, is saying, yeah, well, you don't need to be on that one, we'll half the dose on that one, we'll put you on a different one, and we'll take you off this other one and put you on a different one as well. So it's all sort of, it's a complete, revamp of what we're doing. But we're not doing it all tomorrow. We're going to be doing it over time. And see what, see the effect of each one at a time rather than all at once. So the problem is if you react badly to meds, then, and you just started taking 5, which one of those 5, or which combination of those 5 is causing the problem? Well, you start on one, and then we'll put you on another one and see if you have a bad reaction, and then we'll put you on another one and see if you have a bad reaction. That tends to work a little bit better when you're trying to troubleshoot. And Jeremy, good morning and welcome to the stream. It is still morning, isn't it? Oops, excuse me. Right, so the changes are going to be over the next 3 months, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully my medical conditions will normalize and I'll be a little more awake. Okay, this is a nice load. We'll go and clean this out and drop it back in the lower field. Oh, there's 1 litre of grass in there. Drop, get out, get out. There we go. Okay, 1 litre of grass on the floor. Yeah, I mean, with my general doctor, we've got to the point where it's sort of, I kind of don't want to be on any more meds because I'm taking enough of them. And I think that's part of the reason why this time she just sort of said, okay, we'll get you in with a specialist and we'll make a more educated determination of what we should and shouldn't be doing here. So I'm kind of hopeful that this will work things out. Then if the child we're meeting on Sunday ends up coming to live with us permanently and being adopted, that's also going to change things where I'm going to have to spend time doing exercise type things, which may also help. Okay, there we go. So I'll reverse this back here. So I don't think that's going to be many bales, but it'll supplement what we've got and make me less worried about running out of sheep food. Oh, it's there. What do we have out here? That's a seeder. That's all our headers. That's a grain truck. That's a slurry tank. The bale picker upper thing is in the shed. So we'll get all this out, or put away. And we'll attach the baler to this tractor and maybe take it down to the field and leave it there for a bit. And there we go, awesome stuff. Drop. So, a little bit of hay is better than none. Normally I do the top field, all hay, when I'm intentionally doing a hay run, but the weather was, the ground was damp this morning when we started cutting the grass, so we ended up with a lot of wet grass, so I figured, well, we're not going to get any hay. And then halfway through cutting the first field, what am I doing? I'm doing crazy stuff. Halfway through cutting the first field, the grass dried out, so we could have done hay. Like I said, that bottom field's big, and I prefer to use all of that for silage